Let me I'll get that sign in there. Do you mind flipping it so I can get the other side as well? Perfect. Hi there. So if you can just tell me your name and kind of what you're doing here at this protest.
My name is Jonathan Ferguson. I'm president of the Vanier, and I'm here to support the Rolling Thunder, the bikers. I was here for the entire Freedom Well, I was here at least 3 hours every day for the Freedom Convoy. I wasn't here 24/7 for the whole thing. And I'm here because I oppose tyranny. I support bodily autonomy, freedom of conscience, and parental rights, and I feel like those are being taken away from us. And I think it's a lot easier to protect your rights than it is to get them back once they've been taken away. So that's why I'm here.
Do you mind kind of expanding on what you mean when you talk about bodily autonomy and parental rights? Is that in the context of vaccines or sort of anything else?
Bodily autonomy is in the context of vaccine, or well, I wouldn't call it a vaccine, but for the sake of argument, we'll call it a vaccine.
What would you call it instead?
An mRNA injection.
Okay.
I mean, they changed the definition of the word so that it would meet the, it used to be a vaccine would give you an inoculation that meant you weren't susceptible to the disease anymore. And so they changed the definition of vaccine so that this experimental injection qualifies as a vaccine. So I don't approve of changing words in the middle of doing something so that a word that someone is familiar with and trusts is now being used to describe something that is not at all trustworthy. But anyway, even if you think that we'll call it a vaccine for the sake of this interview, even if you think that's effective, it's still a question of bodily autonomy and about, I have the right to make a choice about what the government injects in me. Especially, even if you think this is good for you, what's to stop them from 10 years from now having an evil government deciding to inject something that isn't so good for you? By then, you've already surrendered your bodily autonomy. It's already become a precedent that you don't get to say no. And so, I think down the road is also things like social credit passports, where first you get a vaccine passport, you have all your vaccines. Oh, let's check out your social media. Oh, you said a naughty, so we're going to dock you for that. And if you say enough naughties, then they freeze your bank accounts like they've done with, or like they did with some of the people who supported the convoy, that sort of thing. Okay. Parental rights is based mainly in the context of this transgendered stuff.
Okay.
I don't believe in giving hormones to a child. I don't believe a 6-year-old is able to know what sex they are, and I think it's torture, and I think the health outcomes where they're so suicidal after they have this done to them, this irreversible damage, it's satanic in my opinion. So that's what that is. And freedom of conscience, they're introducing a whole bunch of new bills, and they're saying, oh, we're going to ban quote-unquote hate speech, and they define hate speech very, very loosely. And, in our charter, we have the right to freedom of conscience. I have the right to believe things that are untrue. They might happen to be untrue. I have the right to believe things that you might not like. I have the right to believe that race is real, for instance, and without, being thrown in jail. And I don't think they should take that right away. So.
Right. And in the context of bodily autonomy, which you mentioned earlier, do you not think that by, I don't know if you're vaccinated, or I'll tell you right now, I am, and I chose to be vaccinated, but I guess I could have also opted not to. So where did I kind of lose my bodily autonomy, or where do you believe you've lost your bodily autonomy if you're still able to say no to the vaccine?
Well, I guess it depends on what voluntary consent means.
Okay.
If the government tells you you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose your ability to support yourself, you're going to freeze to death or starve to death because you have no means to support yourself or your family, is that a real choice?
Okay.
And I would say no, it's not.
Okay. And then what does the, what is the link with trans issues to sort of this whole protest, or is this just something you
As far as I know,
personally?
there's no link. That's
No?
just-
Okay.
Yeah.
You're just kind of doing both at the same time, protesting
Same
both?
with mass migration.
Okay.
I don't think open borders is an issue with this group, or at least there's no consensus. Like at the Freedom Convoy, I like to call it a leftist dance party.
Okay.
And, you know, I happen to be a paleo-conservative. I believe everything my grandfathers believed. Probably my great-great-grandmothers too. And
Just as a matter of family, like you just kind of believe
just
it?
back when everyone was Christian and everyone
Okay.
was moral and everyone, you know, believed in normal things as
Right.
opposed to what we believe in now.
So what's the not normal thing we're believing in now? Is it vaccines or?
Among other things.
Right. Okay. And then lastly, I guess I'm just wondering, you're wearing a PPC hat. Are you a candidate at all, or no?
I volunteered with 2 campaigns. I
Okay.
support the party. And
Why do you think they should be the next government?
well, because Max Bernier was the only one who came out against the vaccine mandates and the vaccine passports. He's the only one who's really in favor of free speech and is speaking out against these bills that are coming down the pike to take free speech away. And he don't like Paulie Everett talks a good game, and he's very nimble rhetorically, and he's able to win debates against Trudeau in the Parliament. But I don't think he stands for anything. I think he sticks his finger in the air and sees which way the wind is blowing. And once he gets in, I think he's a globalist like the rest of them, and he'll govern the same way as Trudeau.
All right. Is there anything else you want to kind of mention? Maybe anything I haven't touched on?
That's it. Thanks
No.
for
All
the
right.
interview.
Thank you for your time.